President Trump has said he is planning to meet Russia's Vladimir Putin, probably in Saudi Arabia. It comes after the two men had a 90-minute phone call, reversing years of US isolation of the Russian leader. Mr. Trump described it as a highly productive conversation and said teams from the US and Russia would start negotiations immediately about ending the war in Ukraine. Donald Trump subsequently spoke on the phone to President Zelensky. At a press briefing in the last little while, President Trump denied freezing Ukraine out of this process. Well, this map shows the extent of Russian progress in the war, here in red, territory regained or held by Ukraine in purple. We are just days from the third anniversary of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. We'll have reaction to President Trump's comments tonight shortly. We'll hear from our correspondents in Moscow and in Kyiv. But our first report tonight is from our North America editor, Sarah Smith.
Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin, not friends exactly, certainly not allies, but able to work together, like at the summit in Helsinki in 2018. Mr. Trump seems to have a wary admiration for the Russian strongman, and he says they enjoyed a long, productive phone call today, even promising to visit each other's countries. On social media, he posted, "We both agreed we want to stop the millions of deaths taking place in the war with Russia-Ukraine. There have actually been over 100,000 deaths, not millions." And he went on, "President Putin even used my very strong campaign motto of common sense. We both believe very strongly in it." That just raises so many questions. What does President Trump think a peace deal could actually look like?
These negotiations are ongoing. I will allow the president to divulge any red lines that he may set, but I think as deals in the past have come to fruition, the president has proven one of the things that makes him a very effective negotiator is not revealing what he's anticipating from both sides, but he is at the forefront of these negotiations in addition to the very qualified individuals who he's tasked with speaking to both President Putin and President Zelensky.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky was on the phone for an hour with Donald Trump. He said it was a meaningful conversation about the opportunities to achieve peace. President Trump won the election in places like Erie, Pennsylvania, in part because he promised to end the war in Ukraine and the money America spends aiding Ukraine's defense.
We weren't in that war, and I hate to be selfish because I know everybody deserves help, but we technically are putting ourselves at risk helping them because it wasn't our fight to begin with.
It's really hard to decide what we should do for Ukraine when there's so much hurt here and there's so much funding that our people need. So although we've always been the country bailing everybody out, I think at a certain point we need to kind of take a step back and see are our people hurting?
The return last night of Mark Fogel, an American teacher just released from a Russian prison and welcomed to the White House, helped set the positive mood between the two nations.
I want you to know that I am not a hero in this at all. And President Trump is a hero.
It is all part of a carefully choreographed diplomatic dance, a rapprochement between Russia and America that must be deeply worrying to Ukraine.
Well, we'll have more from Sarah in a while, but earlier today, the US Defense Secretary, Pete Hegseth, delivered an uncompromising message to Ukraine. He said the US didn't support Ukraine joining NATO and that a return to the country's 2014 borders was unrealistic. James Waterhouse sent this report from the capital, Kyiv.
The heightening talk of peace has changed little in Kyiv. An all too familiar tragedy at dawn, after Russian missiles once more targeted Ukraine's capital, killing one and injuring four more. But the blows for Ukraine kept coming. At this conference centre in Brussels, America's new defence secretary laid out a blunt message from the White House.